Welcome back to Veronica Live, and we are here with the Vice Chairman of the Republican Party of Florida. His name is Jesse Phillips, and he was just put into this position. I wanted to welcome you to Veronica Live, Jesse.
Well, thank you for having me on. Glad to participate today.
Well, you're new. I have never heard your name before because I've always talked with Evan and previously with Christian, and I'm friends with Peter Feynman. So I wanted to get to know who you are. So what were you doing before you were the vice chairman?
Well, I was the state committee man for the party from Seminole County, and I've been involved in local politics for a long time, supporting different candidates, and I also have an IT business, which is my day job, but
okay.
The party stuff is a passion of mine. We have a lot of concerning things going on in our country, and we need good people involved to try to steer the ship back in the right direction.
Well, that's fantastic. And I did see that you all, as the Republican Party of Florida, you came out and you officially endorsed Trump. So I was very happy about that. I don't know if Nikki Haley's got the news yet, though, Jesse.
Well, look, the whole premise of this being an actual primary has been something I've felt from the start. The party got an endorsement from the state party. Formally endorsed him for re-election for Senate. So we're doing the right thing. The primary is a non-event at this point. We know who our standard bearers are, and we need to start working to, get them re-elected.
Well, that's great. And what else is on the docket now for RPOF? Because I've always felt very comfortable in Florida that we lead the way when it comes to, election integrity and doing the right thing. So what's next for the RPOF, Jesse?
Right now it's about turnout. It's about organization and not taking anything for granted. One of the concerns that you have as things start to look better from a voter registration, there's around 800,000 more Republicans than Democrats in the state, is that you have a sense of complacency. Just assume that certain things are going to happen, and we can't do that. The next election is always the most important one, but it's particularly true here this year as well, given what's at stake. And I'm focusing on the organizational piece. I come from a campaign management and grassroots organization background, so I've been meeting with groups throughout Central Florida saying, all right, what are your goals as far as voter outreach? What are your goals as far as voter turnout and contacting and registration? And those are the blocking and tackling of a successful organization that you have to have leadership giving some attention to. There's other things with fundraising and things that Evan is doing a great job at, but I'm focusing on the grassroots level organization, mobilization, and turnout, which are the key to winning any election cycle.
That's great.
So Jesse, this is John Salek.
How's it going?
Pretty good. Is the party doing anything different this cycle? As far as early voting or mail ballots or anything to try and counter the Democrats' traditional advantage in the early voting numbers?
Yes. In the past, it's been a bit of a situation where we didn't know where people felt about the early voting, and that's still a concern. I think the message is out there that, look, regardless of those concerns, we have to address the fact that a lot of people do vote in this manner. Now, some of that's changed because of how the election laws have changed to effectively reset all of those ballot requests. And so I think the numbers are going to look different. We've seen them in our county where it's not going to be as much of an advantage for the Democrats because a lot of those requests were left over from the pandemic, where a lot of folks made those requests to vote by mail, because of the pandemic. All of those are effectively cleared, and we have groups out there actively trying to get people to register their vote by mail. The RNC has a program which is pushing vote by mail and encouraging people to do it. Whether that's your preference or not, it is something that we're actively looking at, not only the state, but the national party as well.
When I talked to Evan a couple of months ago, about the time the Christian Ziegler thing blew up, and by the way, that's still in the news. We're still
it was in the news yesterday, Jesse. We're trying to get past it. Right.
So I know the party took a hit on the fundraising, and as I pointed out to Evan, it kind of reminded me of a former chairman that we ended up going to prison, for financial shenanigans with party money. But it's the same pattern. It's like we come into election year and basically have no money in the coffers. Is anything changed in the past month or so?
There have been some major commitments in the levels of hundreds of thousands of dollars from various elected officials and other folks. And so I think you're going to see that starting to change, based on the commitments that have been made. And as I understand, the checks coming through. So it's not just commitments. There's actually money in the bank. I can't speak to the specific numbers, but I know there's been progress there. I know everybody understands the importance of it and the difficult financial shape that we were left in. But Evan's working every day. I talk to him several times a week, and there's always progress that's being made. So you've seen some of those things announced, commitments, and some other things that have come through that haven't been announced. Look, it's tough sledding to raise money. And one of the things that makes it harder to raise money is we're kind of a victim of our own success, because folks, maybe don't feel like Florida is the national swing state that it used to be. Simply because of how we've turned the tide over the years. So my kind of sounding the alarm to folks is, look, we can't take Florida for granted. And this is still a place that is a swing state. And so from some of a national perspective, we can't assume, that we're going to win here every time, because some of the resources may be allocated elsewhere. So I hope that message is getting through. I know Evan's making progress, but you're right. We were left in a very tough place with our former chairman and the news stories. I think the party, the executive board, mitigated against that by acting quickly, or as quickly as they could. So I think that will help us. But you're right. These are the kind of headlines that you start to wonder could actually change an election cycle had there not been a quick, decisive action by the board, which I'm glad that they took.
Next week we've got the RNC meeting next weekend. Ronna McDaniel is stepping down, and has the executive committee given any input to Evan and Peter Feynman and Kathleen King, who do have votes at that meeting next week about who the new chairman is going to be? Is there been any input or request for input on where the RNC direction is going?
Not formally that I'm aware of. I mean, the conversations are happening, and I know the members, from folks like myself that throughout the 67 counties are all making their opinions known. I was one of 39 people that signed a petition to call for a special meeting to have a vote of no confidence in Ronna McDaniel. So our voices are definitely heard, and Evan and others know. They know where we stand on this. As far as it being any kind of formal thing from the executive board, no, it's been more informal conversations.
Well,
nobody's pushing Laura Trump or,
not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
Well, I did see on your Instagram that Daniel Perez has donated $50K, and the incoming Senate president has donated $100K. So money's definitely flowing in. And I'm with you, Jesse. I think to win the White House, you always have to come through Florida. So we need to be the leaders when it comes to, bringing money to the table for the fight. One of my questions I had for you is I'm kind of excited that Governor DeSantis is back in Tally now at the helm, and he's put all of his key people in. So are you noticing that people are happy now that he's back, running the state fully?
It's great. I've been to 2 press conferences with him through the last couple of weeks. So he's definitely re-engaging at a local level with some of these issues with the Disney Reedy Creek district and some of the book banning fiascos that are happening. And so there has been a sense that our governor is fully at the wheel, and we love him. I mean, there's a reason why he got elected by such wide majorities, reelected, one in Miami-Dade, one in Osceola County. I mean, so there's a lot of support for the governor, which is still there. And we love him. We love what he's doing. He's America's best governor for a reason. And it's great to have him back off the campaign trail and leading our state and doing it effectively.
So what are we missing that the listeners need to know about the RPOF? I feel like this is the fight of our life, Jesse. The November election. I mean, if we don't win, I just don't know what's going to happen to our country. So what are you feeling?
I feel a sense of urgency. When I was made vice chair, we were less than 9 months before a general election, just over 6 months before the primary in August, and less than 1 month away from the presidential primary. So we had 3 elections in 9 months, to look at, and an incredible sense of urgency. The listeners should just consider the thing that you just mentioned. And I always tell people, if I had 10 minutes today to save my country, how would I use them? You have to think on a daily basis, what have I done today to help this? Have I got involved in my local party? Have I reached out to some neighbors? Have I reached out to people online and shared information with them? Have I made phone calls? Have I sent out text messages? I mean, there's things you can do in 10-minute increments, that all, make a huge impact collectively over the long haul. So that's the message, getting involved locally, finding local RECs in other groups that are like-minded, and making a difference one day, 10 minutes at a time.
That's great. And what about you all also just endorsed Senator Scott? So how did that happen with you all endorsing? I thought it was just a presidential thing for the RPOF to endorse. And I guess Senator Scott, he's been right there with you all, and now he's got the endorsement, which is great.
Yes. No, we're there with our senator. It was a realization that the primary effectively was over. He's our standard bearer. He's our incumbent. He's been a great senator, and not only our senator, but a national leader within the party through his roles and visibility. There was no sense in which the party had anything but support for him, and looking forward to him returning to office. It was an overwhelming endorsement of him in addition to the president.
Well, I heard his name thrown into the hat when they said this week that McConnell would, he's stepping down as speaker, but not until November, which is so frustrating. So I did hear Scott, his name thrown into the ring. So,
I was early on the Scott for leader bandwagon.
Okay.
He ran once, and I don't know if he'll run again, but it would be great for Florida.
Right. Well, and Mitch McConnell needs to GO. He's in that Rona McDaniel.
The sad part
boat.
is they're talking about John Conyers from Texas, replacing him, which is like, talk about rhino Republicans.
Yeah, replace one with another. It's
no, I can't do it. No, we got to fight that.
We have this habit of shooting ourselves, as I was telling Veronica this earlier. We have this habit of shooting ourselves in the foot when we have these opportunities, and instead of stepping up for leadership. But, even Kennedy, Robert Kennedy came out, and he thought Rand Paul would make a great leader. And I'm like, what a brilliant, it takes a Democrat to give us the brilliance observation.
So sometimes being outside gives you a clearer picture than the folks on the inside. We'll put it that way.
Yeah.
So Jesse, I was so frustrated this week with Biden racing to the border to show us that he's our president, yet he's really never been to the border. So, one of the slides that you all have on the Instagram was, we've been invaded by 7.2 million illegals. So I just wanted your thoughts on all of what went down this week and this illegal invasion. I was joking with John, the word of the day for Biden at his presser was they're called newcomers now. And my word of the day is that they're called invaders.
Look, it's all posturing. It's all posturing. I mean, at some point, it is clear that the Democrats see this as being an issue that's going to cost them in the election. And they're trying to figure out how to undo every policy and position that they've taken and the open policies that they've had from an electoral standpoint to try to, create some stories that make them seem something different than they are. And people need to see through that. Nothing's going to happen until we have a change in the White House to secure our borders, and nothing's going to happen on a number of different avenues until a change of leadership happens. So you have to see through the political show. You have to see through the posturing in an election season, the October surprises that are going to come.
There's going to be a lot, I'm sure.
There'll be a lot of them. There's always an October surprise, and there's always, people seem much more reasonable right around election time. That's all that this is. There's going to be no change until, we have a change in the White House and then some leadership in the Senate and House to actually get it done.
Well, I did get my, John can see me on camera. I got my little paper copy of the primary and all of when our early voting starts here, March 9th through March 16th. And then March 19th is the actual primary election day. And I guess I forgot about this. I was frustrated. There's all these other people, to include Chris Christie. I was sick reading that name, and so anyways.
He's going to get like 5 votes. I think
and Asa Hutchinson. And then I'm like, who the hell's Ryan Binkley? And I'm like, why can't we have this paper done? I guess because we've sent them out to, I was a military, so I used to get absentee all the time. But anyways, I just wanted everyone to remember March 19th is D-Day, and it better be, everybody needs to get out and vote Trump.
Well, that's why the problem with, the endorsements and everything, everybody thinks, and people dropping out. I mean, it's like the primary is a non-event, but all the people that are on the ballot, they agreed to the terms, for the Sunshine Summit to get their name on the ballot. So, and paid their money. So that's why they're on the ballot.
Okay, Ryan Binkley, whoever you are, I don't even know at this point. And but anyways, Jesse,
his money was useful. We'll take
well, that's the thing. The party made money on it. We got their fee. But one of the things I wanted to ask you, Jesse, was just from a tactical standpoint. 4 years ago, the RNC was well funded and had a national plan, and coordinated through RPOF with money and effort to have a joint, effort with the Trump campaign, including opening up offices and that kind of stuff, campaign offices around the state, and having people on the ground that were funded through RPOF or hired through RPOF but funded through the RNC. I know the RNC is having money problems. Is there any possibility? We're running out of time here, and
I'm so nervous.
Right. Who's running the ship on trying to decide this stuff? Or is Trump just going to end up running an independent campaign and the RPOF and RNC are along for the ride?
Not at all. Trump is working hand in hand with the RPOF. A lot of the opening of offices and things, the biggest requests that we get right now are, where can we get campaign signs? Those requests are already coming in, and a lot of that's going to kick in after the convention. There's some things that can happen federally once it's formalized. But no, there's going to be offices opened. They're going to be opened in joint with local RECs, and it's going to be hand in hand at a ground level. I understand people are getting questions, and we're saying, look, we understand there's a need and desires, and a lot of that stuff from a resource allocation starts to kick in after the convention is done.
Okay, great. So, Jesse, we're about to wrap it up here. What are your final, thoughts you want to share with everyone? I mean, November is just crucial, critical. We've got to take back America.
That's the exact message, and my message is, what have you done today? How have you spent your 10 minutes today or an hour today, whatever time you have? Start making those investments today. It'll pay off later. Find your local party to get involved. Write a check to a local candidate. There's other things on the ballot as well. Other than the most important races up at the top, but there are very important races down ballot and people that could use $25-$30 from you and a few hours of volunteering so that we have a red wave here in the state of Florida like we can have if we all start pushing in the same direction.
Well, it's fabulous meeting you. We've been talking with Vice Chairman of the Republican Party of Florida, Jesse Phillips, and we've got to have you back. And we're in the fight with you, Jesse. So good luck. We're right there.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for what you do.
And we'll be right back on Veronica Live.